At 2:17 a.m., a woman called emergency services, but she didn't ask for help. She only asked one question. She said, "Can you hear him breathing?" The call ended abruptly. When officers arrived, the house was empty, but the recording kept playing. Welcome to the Misery Man. Hit like and subscribe ... where the stories are quiet, slow, and feel uncomfortably real. Tonight's story isn't about monsters. It's about being heard long after you think you're alone. Put on your headphones and listen carefully. -1, 2006, Ridgewood, Ohio. Emily Carter moved into the house on Hollow Creek Road after her divorce. It was small, old, and affordable, the kind of place that felt tired rather than haunted. At least at first. The first thing she noticed wasn't a sound. It was the silence, not peaceful silence. It was an occupied silence, like a room where someone had just stopped talking. On her third night, Emily heard movement upstairs, slow, deliberate steps. She froze on the couch, her eyes fixed on the ceiling. The sound stopped the exact moment she held her breath. When she finally built up the courage to check, nothing was there. No open doors, no disturbed furniture, just air that felt watched. She told herself that old houses make noise. She told herself that every night. But it was a thin comfort. A week later, the calls began. Always after midnight, no number on the screen. No voice on the other end, just breathing, slow, close, as if the person was right beside her every time she slammed the phone down, her heart pounding. Until one night, she hesitated, the breathing stopped, and a voice, a dry whisper, said, "Why do you stay so quiet when you're scared?" And the line went dead. After that, Emily started noticing small things, disturbances in her routine. The bathroom light was on when she was sure she had turned it off. She'd step into the shower and find the water already warm. Her bedroom door, which she always closed, would be slightly ajar in the morning. Then came the notes left on her kitchen counter. In short, careful handwriting. One said, "You forgot to lock it." Another, simply, "I heard you cry last night." She didn't call the police. Not yet. How do you report a feeling? How do you explain a whisper on a deadline? One night, pushed to the edge, she tried to get proof. Before bed, she set her phone on the nightstand and started an audio recording. For hours, the recording captured nothing but the quiet hum of the house. But at 2:11 a.m., something changed. The distinct sound of footsteps, heavy, not hers. Then, at 2:14 a.m., a voice spoke. So softly, so close to the microphone, it felt like it was in her ear. It said, "She always wakes up when I stand too close." Emily listened to the recording in the safety of her car the next morning, her body trembling. She never slept in the house again. She called the police. 2 officers walked through the house, their faces skeptical. No signs of forced entry. The attic was sealed. There was no crawl space big enough for a person. They found nothing. They suggested it was stress, loneliness, fear after a painful divorce playing tricks on her mind. But as they were leaving, one of the officers paused at the door. He turned and asked, just out of curiosity, who usually answers the phone here. Emily just stared at him, her blood running cold. "I live alone," she said. Emily moved into a cheap motel, planning to break her lease. A few days later, there was a knock on her door. It was her neighbor from Hollow Creek Road, an older man with quiet, worried eyes. He told her the house she'd been living in. It used to belong to a night dispatcher, a woman who worked emergency calls from home decades ago. One night, she just disappeared. They found her headset on, the line still open. Her phone line, he said, never stopped recording what it heard. Driven by a mix of terror and a desperate need for answers, Emily started digging. She managed to access old public call archives tied to the house's address. Buried deep was a single, unlabeled recording. The timestamp made her stomach drop. 2:17 a.m. Her hands shaking, she pressed play. Static, faint breathing, then a sound that shattered her reality. It was her own voice, crying, begging, and through her sobs, a whisper cut through the static. She doesn't know she's already answering. Emily dropped the phone because the breathing wasn't just coming from the recording anymore. It was in the room with her, behind her. That same night, at exactly 2:17 a.m., emergency services received a call from the motel. It was Emily, but she didn't scream for help. She didn't say there was an intruder. She only asked one question, her voice serially calm. Can you hear him breathing? The line stayed open for 3 minutes. The dispatcher heard soft footsteps, a long, drawn-out silence, and then a final whisper. She finally listened. The house on Hollow Creek Road still stands. It's been unoccupied for years. But according to local legend and dispatch records, something strange happens every year on the same night. At exactly 2:17 a.m., a call comes from that address. There's never a voice, just breathing, and the distinct, silent sound of someone on the other end, listening. Being alone doesn't mean you're unheard, and silence doesn't mean absence. Lock your doors, check your phone, and never assume the line is empty. This is the Misery Man. If this story stayed with you, subscribe for more dark, realistic horror. I'll see you in the next one.